If you're building your offer or your delivery or your team just for now, for today, it is really going to cost you later. You have to get in the mindset of building things with the future in mind. Where do you want it to go? Because what works at one often breaks at 10. That's just a rule of life. And this video is really about building your first version of whatever it is that you're going to build, like it's going to scale. So growth feels smooth and not scary. Stick with me, and I'll show you how to create your scalable prototype many, many times over and over. It's the blueprint for a business that actually holds up under pressure. I'm Brett from brettcpayne.com, and really what my role is trying to help business owners design their operations and their strategies and their structures really with the end in mind, even from day one. In some of my videos, I've even shared that after I got out of the university, one of the first places I went to was to the Ukraine, and I was there for all of the 90s. I only had 2 books with me. This was kind of like pre-internet. It was a long time ago, but one of those, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of my favorite books from Stephen Covey. And one of those habits is beginning with the end in mind. That's what this video is really about. So if you've ever built something great only to realize when you get done, it's impossible to repeat, this is the video for you. Let's build your business on purpose and not by accident. I'm going to give you some blueprint points to help you along the way. Blueprint point number 1 is build your offer like a product, not like a project. A lot of owners and founders and CEOs, they build their first offer or their service, their product, whatever it is, like it's a one-off client solution. You've got an idea for something, you know who you want to buy it, but you like so customize the thing. It's really a one-off. You're not thinking about customer number 2 or customer 10 or customer number 100. But that mindset, it will lock you into customizing everything every time. You can't do it like that. No matter what your business is, you can't be building things that are custom all the time because you can't scale them. Instead, you have to look at it and decide what is standardized, what's the variable, and where are there decisions that they can be templated, right? Those are kind of the 3 things you have to look at. If it's meant to scale, it has to be repeatable. And those 3 flagpoles will help you with that, understanding what's standardized, what's the variable, and what decisions can be templated in that process. And then you can start to build things that potentially can scale. Blueprint number 2, design your delivery to survive volume. You want to think about what it is that you're offering and assume that lots of customers are going to be coming your way. So you have to design it like that. Imagine onboarding 10 new clients next week. What would your current process survive? Like, would it even survive if you brought on 10 new clients next week? If the answer is, Brett, probably not, you don't need a bigger team, because that's always what the answer seems to be. I have very good friends that the more business they get, the more people they add onto their team. Well, that's not the solution. You need a better delivery system. And if you're the person watching this that is that friend of mine, I'm talking to you. So what you have to think is, what triggers what causes what things, what can be templatized, like how can you standardize it, right? And where are humans slowing things down? You've got to answer those kinds of questions, and that will help you to move things forward. If you're serious about building something that doesn't fall apart when it grows, hit subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, because I post weekly on how to scale without stress. Blueprint number 3, bake feedback into the system early. You want to get that feedback loop going, right? Don't wait until things break. Build feedback loops into the prototype, right? Ask what confused your client. Watch what your team re-asks to you, so you give them a project or something you're going to build, and just listen for what your staff is asking you. Like, they don't understand this. Like, let that feedback loop be in place immediately, and then you want to track where things stall or where they get repeated. I just built a new product this week. Today, as I'm recording this, it is Friday. And on Tuesday, I had this idea about something I wanted to do, and I bounced it off a couple of people. When I bounced it off of them and I got kind of the information that I needed, I started thinking about how I would do this. The way that I thought about it, though, is I wanted to get the feedback loop in early. And the way that I did that without a lot of people around with me is I used AI, and I'm going to give you a little secret here. It's called inverse analysis thinking. Inverse analysis thinking. I'm going to do a whole video about this a little bit later, but it definitely applies to the feedback loop as you're starting to build something. That idea, and if you want to Google that, that's fine. But that idea means that when you have a project or a service or a product that you want to launch, that you start with the question, not how do you do it, but what are the things that would cause this to fail? What would cause this to fail? I want to know the fail points before I build one little thing. Work through that. That's a feedback loop. And if you do that with AI, with ChatGPT or any of the others, and you just give them that phrase, inverse analysis thinking, and say, I want to do that with this project or whatever, it will start to take you through this process of feedback before you begin to start something. Because every friction point is a system waiting to be built. It doesn't matter what the thing is. If there's something you want to solve, we call that a friction point, and you can build a system around that. Even this thing I just told you about AI and using that phrase with it is a little bit of a system that you could put into play right after this video. Let me ask you, what part of the process of your process would instantly break if you tripled your clients? Like if it just happened next week, everybody wants more business, right? But what if you tripled your clients next week? What part of your process would instantly break? I want you to drop that in the comments because I've been there and we can fix that together. I will jump in the comments with you and maybe we'll find some solutions together. I'm sure we will. Blueprint number 4, systemize the hiring, not just the work. Systemize the hiring, not just the work. It's not just the process that needs to scale. Your people pipeline needs to scale also. So you need to start building things like clear onboarding checklists. What happens when a new staff member comes on? Role-specific ramp-up plans. So you really should design your business based not on people, but on roles. And those people can fit into those roles, and you have SOPs assigned to those roles. And then another one is just training hubs that your team can go to that they're very self-serving. So you can use things as simple as Google Drive, where you load Loom videos in there that will help them to be trained, because you need a system in bringing people onto your team as well. One of the things that's the biggest frustration in the world for owners, and I've got friends that had just go through this hiring process all the time, is you do everything you can to find the right person. You may have a 50% chance of getting the right person. I mean, really, maybe, no matter how many questions you have or how many interview things you have, because when they come on and then you have to onboard them, then you have an incredible amount of time it takes to get them up to speed on things, right? So what if you didn't have to worry about, like some of you probably don't hire people over and over because you're like, it just takes too much time. And they leave after 6 months. They leave after a year. I just got to do it again. Isn't that frustrating, right? So you can build a system around that hiring process that works just as well with people as it does with projects. Blueprint number 5, capture the process while it's fresh, while you're working on it. When something works, don't just celebrate it, document it, right? I'm all about documenting everything that you do. And again, I don't just talk this stuff. I literally do this stuff every single day. I documented 2 pretty significant projects earlier this week. Ideas that I had about how we can leverage one angle of our business to get even more revenue, documented, built it, gave it to my team. I did all the hard thinking work. That's what you need to do as a CEO. And then my role as a CEO is to get them to execute on my ideas. And just an hour before I came here, I got a link from one of my staff members and said, take a look at this. And I looked at it and it was exactly what I envisioned 48 hours ago. But now it's there to market. And I have a staff member that's built the whole thing. And on Monday morning, this is Friday, this has happened on Tuesday. On Monday morning, we will go to market and we have the marketing piece in place. We've got the sales process in place. We've got the product in place. We've got all the things in place. But that would never work if I didn't document it, right? I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. You've got to capture really 3 things. You got to capture what worked. If you build something out, look at it, go, okay, what worked? Let me put that in play. I've got to document what happened first, second, and third. Like what was the sequence of how I did this thing? And then thirdly, what are the tools and the templates involved? You've got to document all these things because once you have it, it's absolutely scalable. I'll tell you the other benefit of doing these kinds of things and giving them to your staff members is they start to think like this, right? They start to think in SOPs or in documentation, or I know how Brett is going to ask me to do things. And it becomes very, very natural. They can glance at what I'm giving to them instead of like just struggling over trying to understand these things. They can glance at it. I try to give them variable ways of understanding things. Sometimes it's Loom videos. Sometimes it's just straight SOPs. Sometimes I leave them a voice message and I say, I want you to read this document. I'll give them a link and I explain it to them. There was a staff member that we're bringing on in a sales role with us. I hope, I got my fingers crossed that he's going to come on for a marketing agency that we have. And he's going to step into a sales role, and to teach him the whole basis of what we do and how it's very different from other marketing agencies is I took a knowledge base that I had that was about 24 pages long of everything that we do in that particular agency. And I fed it into a service, I think it's called Notebook LM, I can't remember, that Microsoft puts out. And basically you can take that document or any document, put it in there, and two people, it's like they're on a podcast, they talk through it. And I sent him the link to the podcast and he listened to it and he understood, not from a document, not from a video, but I thought I'm going to try a different method with him because I know how he thinks. I gave him a podcast so he can drive around his Tesla and listen to this thing and go, oh, I get it. Like I understand the basis of the business and what makes it unique. And that was 3 hours ago. I do these things. So as you're documenting it, remember, don't just do it for memory, do it for momentum. Like when the energy's going, like do it. That's part of the flow, right? You got to stay in the flow. Make sure you document everything so that it can be scalable. Now, this is exactly why I built my free SOP Builder guide. And it's there to show you how to turn your expertise, which you are an expert, into repeatable systems, and to do it without typing a word. I don't want you to think that I'm sitting there typing these things. I don't. I want you to go grab it at brettcpayne.com/SOP, or just hit the link in the description. I put it there for you. If you're serious about scaling, which you are, start building like it's meant to grow. Intend for it to grow. Create your scalable prototype once and make it repeatable forever and ever. And by all means, grab the SOP Builder Guide to lock in what works and turn your playbook into something that your team can actually use. The link is in the description for you. Let's build the next version and let's do it on purpose.